There's a key to growing your wealth that almost everyone overlooks. What is the one thing that is actually the most important thing to do to grow your wealth? All right, so I'm going to give you some non-traditional advice today, because most people you speak to are going to tell you if you want to make more money, you got to put your focus on earning more. How do I get a promotion? How do I do a side hustle? How do I get more money in my pocket? But that's the wrong question to ask, and that's not where I want you to focus, at least in the beginning, when you're first starting. It's actually more important, in my opinion, to focus on managing the resources you already have. The money that you do have needs to be managed responsibly and efficiently. And after you master that, you have more ability to focus on earning later. I'm telling you this from personal experience because I started with making $25 an hour and about $25,000 a year at my first job after graduating college. I know what it takes to scale and start with very little. So I'm saying to you, I think this is the most effective based on my personal experience. And I think that you would get a lot from it as well if you started to focus on budgeting and looking at your personal expenses and your personal income and how to increase the delta between those two things. You want to keep your income strong, reduce your expenses to a bare minimum, and save as much as possible so that you're in a better position in the future. But this also requires delayed gratification. And this is the other trait that is extremely rare in most people, and that leads to the most success in life in general, not just in finances, but with health and with relationships and almost anything you can think of. The better you are at delayed gratification, the more successful you will be. What is delayed gratification exactly? It means you're not going to consume or do something now because you know that it will be better for your future self. You're going to restrain yourself from doing something you would like to do now because you know your future self will thank you later. For instance, if you're on a diet and you want to lose weight, that's your goal. What you're going to do is restrain yourself from eating that cookie because you know that if you do, it's going to take you farther away from your goal. That's delayed gratification. The same concept in finances apply. So if you have a goal to reach a certain amount in your savings and you see something that's really nice at the store, maybe a $200 belt, you say to yourself, I'm not going to buy that belt because I need to save the money for my future self. So you deny yourself the belt, and now you have $200 more in your pocket that you wouldn't otherwise. This is the trait that most rich people and successful people possess. It's something that you can do as well. You have to practice it day in and day out, but it is possible. And I believe that if you do this and you work on delayed gratification and managing your money effectively first, that you will grow your wealth significantly quicker than if you focused on earning alone. To illustrate my point further, we're gonna go to my friends Bob and Billy. All right, Bob is earning $75,000 a year, which is pretty good. And Billy is earning $200,000 a year, which is very good. But Billy's not as happy because he actually spends $200,000 a year. So at the end of the year, he's left with nothing in his savings and he's actually broke. Bob is technically saving the difference because he spends only $25,000 a year. He has about $50,000 of discretionary income to do with what he wants. And so in this scenario, who is actually richer? Billy makes more money, but he is not richer. He's actually worse off because he spent so much of his income. And so what I'm trying to illustrate here is that it's more important to manage your money effectively like Bob than it is to focus on earning your money instead of where the expenses are going. So make sure you're being careful in budgeting and being frugal in the beginning, especially when you're earning less money. It's easy to get caught up in the luxuries and all of these nicer things, especially when you start to make more money. But this is what happens here when you forget about managing effectively. So the keys to growing your wealth quickly are budgeting and self-discipline through delayed gratification. I tell you to manage your money more effectively first before focusing on the earnings, because that's what I did when I was making $25,000 a year. I had a budget book and I was tracking my expenses down to the pennies so that I knew how much I could save every month. And I stacked those savings on top of each other until I had a good amount of savings that I can then use it to invest into property that will produce for me more income in the future, which is the delayed gratification part that I was talking about. I could have took the savings and used it on a nice vacation or bought myself some nice things, but that would have been consuming the savings that I was working so hard for, and it would be gone. I would have to then replenish the savings through hard work and discipline again. So I used it instead to invest for my future self so that one day I won't need to be pinching for pennies. Thanks for watching today's video. I know you guys will get to where you want to go. I was in your position once with a lot of student debt and making minimal amounts of money, so I know you can do it too. Just remember to keep going, keep learning, and keep grinding.